Yes, indeed, Dr. Harper. Yes. Your Sister Martha and I have been talking all week long about your sermon last Sunday. Yes, you know, it's so wonderful that in only 2 short years, you've been able to take on the spirit of Brooklyn.
That's very gratifying, Miss Brewster.
Yes, you know, living next door to the church all of our lives, where we've seen so many ministers come and go. And the spirit of Brooklyn, we always say, is friendliness. And your sermons are not so much sermons as friendly talks.
Personally, I've always enjoyed my talks with Cardinal Gibbons. Or have I met him yet?
Oh, no, not yet, dear. Are the biscuits good?
Bully!
Dr. Harper, would you care for another biscuit?
Oh, no, thank you, Miss Abby. I'm afraid I won't have an appetite for dinner. You see, I always eat too many of your lovely biscuits just to taste that delicious jam.
Oh, well, you haven't even tasted the quince yet.
Oh.
No, we've always put a little bit of apple in it just to take the tartness out.
No, thank you.
Well, we'll send you home with a jar.
No, thank you, Miss Abby. Why don't you just leave it here so I can have the pleasure of tasting it with your lovely biscuits?
Oh. Well, you know, I do hope they don't make us use that imitation flour again. Well, what with the war trouble and all. You know. Well, I don't mean to be uncharitable, but well, I'm beginning to think that this Mr. Hitler is not a Christian.
If only Europe were on another planet.
Europe, sir?
Yes, Teddy.
Point your gun the other way.
Oh.
Gun?
Teddy.
To the west. There's your danger. There's your enemy. Japan.
Yes, of course.
Teddy.
No, Aunt Abby. Not so much talk about Europe and more about the canal.
Well, let's not talk about war. No. Well. Dr. Harper, would you like some more tea?
Oh, no, thank you, Miss Abby. And I must admit, this talk of war and violence seems far removed from these proceedings.
Yes, it is peaceful here, isn't it?
Yes, peaceful. Virtues of another day, they're all right here in this house. Those gentle virtues that went out with candlelight and good manners and low taxes.
Yes. You know, this is one of the oldest houses in Brooklyn. It's just as it was when Grandfather built and furnished it. Oh, except for the electricity. And, well, we use that as little as possible. It was Mortimer who persuaded us to put it in.
Yes, it seems your nephew Mortimer only lives by electric light.
Well, he has to work so late, poor dear. Well, I understand he's taking Elaine to the theater again with him. Teddy, your brother Mortimer will be here a little later on.
Delighted.
Yes, we're so happy it's Elaine he takes to the theater with him.
Well, I must say, I'm not used to having to wake up till 3 o'clock in the morning for my daughter to be brought home.
Oh, Dr. Harper, I do hope that you don't disapprove of Mortimer.
Well,
we'd feel so guilty if we did, Sister Martha and I. After all, it was here in our home that your daughter met Mortimer.
I do understand that. So let me say immediately, Miss Abby, that I do believe Mortimer to be quite the worthy gentleman. However, I have been watching their growing intimacy with quite some trepidation.
Well,
and for one reason, Miss Abby.
Oh, you mean his stomach, Dr. Harper.
Stomach?
His dyspepsia. Well, he's troubled so with it, poor dear.
No, Miss Abby, I'll be frank with you. I'm speaking of your nephew's unfortunate connection with the theater.
The theater? Oh, no, Dr. Harper. No, Mortimer writes for a New York newspaper.
I know that, Miss Abby, but a dramatic critic is constantly exposed to the theater, and I do not doubt that some of them do take a liking to it.
Oh, well, not Mortimer. No, you need have no fear of that. No, he hates the theater.
Really?
Oh, yes. Yes, he writes awful things about the theater. But you can't blame him, poor dear. No, he was so happy when he was writing about real estate, which he really knew something about. But then they went and gave him this terrible night position.
My.
Yes, but as he says, the theater can't last much longer anyway. No, I give the theater another year or two, perhaps. Who do you suppose that could be? Oh, now, Teddy, I'll get it. Oh, how do you do, Mr. Brophy?
Hello, Miss Brewster.
Well, hello, Mr. Klein.
Hello, Miss Brewster.
What news have you brought me?
Colonel, we have nothing to report.
Splendid. Thank you, gentlemen. At ease.
Do you know Dr. Harper?
How do you do?
Long time.
Foster, how do you do?
We've come for the toys for the Christmas fund.
Oh, yes.
You know, that splendid work that you men do, fixing up discarded toys to give children a happier Christmas.
It gives us something to do when we have to sit around the station. You get tired of playing cards, start cleaning your gun, next thing you know, you shot yourself in the foot.
Oh, Teddy, would you go upstairs to Aunt Martha's room and bring that big box down? Thank you. Well, how is Mrs. Brophy today? Well, Mrs. Brophy's been quite ill, Dr. Harper.
Pneumonia.
Sorry.
Charge!
Oh, she's better now. Well, little weak still.
Yes, well, I'll get some broth for you to take home to her.
Oh, no, Miss Abby. You don't have to do that. You've gone to so much trouble already.
Oh, well, we just made it this morning. Sister Martha's taking some over to poor Mr. Benitsky right now. Well, it won't take me but a minute. You all just make yourselves comfortable and sit down, all of you.
She really shouldn't go to so much trouble.
Listen, you try to stop her sisters from doing something nice, and for what? They don't even care how you vote.
You know, when I first received my call here to Brooklyn to move next door, my wife was very ill, and when she passed away, and even for months before, well, if I know what pure kindness and absolute generosity are, it's because I've known the Brewster sisters.
Colonel, you promised not to do that anymore.
Well, I must consult my cabinet if I'm to get the release of the supplies.
He used to do that in the middle of the night. The neighbors raised Cain with us. They were a little afraid of him anyway.
Oh, he's quite harmless.
I just think he's Teddy Roosevelt. There's a lot worse people could think he was.
Darn shame a nice family like this hatching a cocoa.
Well, his father, the old girl's brother, was some sort of a genius, wasn't he? And their father, Teddy's grandfather, seems to me I've heard he was a little crazy too.
Yeah, crazy like a fox. You know he made $1 million.
Really? Here in Brooklyn?
Yeah, patent medicine. He used the house here as a sort of clinic. Old Sergeant Edwards remembers him.
Here he used to make mistakes occasionally too.
The department never bothered with him much. It was real useful in autopsy reports, especially poison cases.
Well, whatever he did, he left his daughters fixed for life, thank God for that.
Not that they'd ever spend any of it on themselves.
Oh, I'm well acquainted with their charities.
You don't know a tenth of it. When I was with the Missing Persons Bureau, I was tracing an old man that I never did find. Did you know that there's a renting agency that's got this house down on its list for furnished rooms? They don't rent rooms, but you can bet that anybody who comes in there looking for one goes out with a nice meal and a few dollars in that cake.
Oh, that's just their way of digging up some people to do some good to.
Oh, well, isn't this nice?
Hello, Miss Brewster.
Mr. Brophy. Oh, Dr. Harper.
How are you, Miss Martha?
Mrs. Klein.
How are you, Miss Brewster? You stopped in to get the Christmas toys?
Yes, Teddy's Army and Navy. They were out. Oh, they're all packed.
Yes, the colonel's upstairs after them. It seems the cabinet has to okay them.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes. Oh, is Mrs. Brophy better?
Oh, yes, your sister's getting me some broth to take to her.
Oh, yes, we made it just this morning. I made some for a poor old man who broke ever so many bones.
Oh, Martha, you're back. Well, oh, how was Mr. Benitsky?
Mr. Benitsky, oh, he's not doing so well, I'm afraid.
Oh.
The doctor was there. They're going to have to amputate in the morning.
Oh, can we be present?
No, I asked. Against the rules of the hospital?
Oh.
You wouldn't be of any service anyway, and besides, you must spare yourself something.
Well, here's the broth, Mr. Brophy. Make sure it's good and hot.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
This is fine. It'll make a lot of kids happy. That O'Malley boy is nuts about soldiers.
That's General Miles. I retired him. Oh, what's this? The Oregon.
Oh, Teddy, put that back.
But the organ goes to Australia.
Now, Teddy.
No, I've given my word to Fighting Bob Evans.
But Teddy.
What does it matter what kid it goes to? Bobby Evans? Izzy Cohen? This is fine, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Oh, not at all. Well, goodbye.
Well, I best be going too, Miss Abby.
Oh, Dr. Harper, before you...
Charge!
Well,
The blockhouse?
The stairs always send one.
yes.
Have you ever tried persuading him that he was someone other than Teddy Roosevelt?
Oh, no.
Oh, he's so happy being Teddy Roosevelt.
Yes. Oh, once, remember, Martha, a long time ago, we thought, well, if he could be George Washington, it would be a nice change for him.
Oh, but he stayed under his bed for days and just wouldn't be anybody.
And we'd so much rather he be Teddy Roosevelt than nobody.
Well, if he's happy, and what's more important, you're happy. Well, you see that he signs these.
Yes.
What are those?
Dr. Harper has made arrangements for Teddy to go to Happydale Sanitarium after we pass on.
But why should he sign them now?
It's better to have it settled. If the good Lord should take you suddenly, Teddy might not commit himself and would have an unfortunate legal procedure. Dr. Witherspoon knows to just file these away until the appropriate time.
Mr. Witherspoon, who's he?
He's the superintendent of Happydale.
Oh,
Dr. Harper has made arrangements for him to come and meet Teddy tomorrow or the next day.
oh.
Well, I best be going or Elaine will be looking for me.
All right.
Good day.
Well, give our love to Elaine, please.
Yes, Miss Abby.
Oh, and Dr. Harper, please don't think too harshly of Mortimer for being a dramatic critic. Somebody has to do those things.
Abby, did you just have tea? And so late?
Yes.
Why?
And dinner's going to be late, too.
Why?
Teddy, I've good news for you. You're going to go to Panama to dig another lock for the canal.
Delighted! That's bully, just bully. I shall go at once and prepare for the journey. Charge!
Abby, while I was out!
Yes. Well, I didn't know when you would be back, and, well, Dr. Harper was coming.
But all by yourself!
Oh, I did fine.
Oh, I'll go right downstairs and see.
Oh, dear, no. No, there wasn't time. I was all alone.
So, well?
Martha, you come right over and see what's in the window seat. Oh, I wonder who that is. Oh, it's Elaine.
Oh, good afternoon, Miss Abby. Good afternoon, Miss Martha.
Good afternoon.
I thought Father was here.
Well, you had just this minute left. Did you not see him?
Oh, no, I took a shortcut through the cemetery. Has Mortimer come yet?
Oh, no, dear, not yet.
Oh, he asked me to meet him here. Do you mind if I wait?
Do sit down.
Yes,
Thank
sit
you.
down.
We really must talk to Mortimer about this.
About what?
Well, when a gentleman is taking out a lady, he should call for her at her home.
Oh, well, there's something about calling for a girl at a parsonage that discourages any man who doesn't embroider.
Well, he's done this too often. And we're going to speak to him.
Oh, please don't. After young men whose idea of nightlife is taking me for coffee after prayer meeting, well, it's wonderful to go to the theater almost every night of my life.
Well, it's reassuring for us too, dear. If he has to see some of those shows that he has to see. Well, it's a good thing he's sitting next to the minister's daughter.
Dear, oh dear, Elaine. What must you think of us not having tea cleared away by this
Oh,
time?
it's fine.
Well, you get things started in the kitchen, then I'll come and help you.
Yes.
When Mortimer comes, he should be here any minute.
Yes. You know, Father must have been surprised not to find me at home. I'd better run over and say goodnight to him.
Oh, yes.
If Mortimer comes, you tell him I'll be right back.
Sure.
Oh, hello, Mort.
Hello, Elaine. Hello, Aunt Martha.
Oh, Mortimer, Abby, Mortimer's here.
Are you going somewhere?
I was just going over to tell Father not to wait up for me tonight.
I didn't know that was still being done, even in Brooklyn.
Hello, dear. Oh,
How are you, Aunt Abby?
Oh, I'm fine. Just fine. Oh, how are you?
Hi, Abby. Don't we have some things to do in the kitchen? You know, the tea things.
Oh, the tea things. Yes, well, we'll be right back.
Well, can't you take a hint?
No, that was pretty obvious. A lack of inventiveness, I should say.
Yes, that's exactly what you'd say.
So, where do you want to go for dinner?
I'm not very hungry, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, I just had breakfast. Suppose we wait until after the show.
Well, that'll make it pretty late, won't it?
Not with the little stinker we're seeing tonight. From what I hear, we'll be at Blake's by 10 o'clock.
You ought to be fair to these plays.
Are these plays fair to me?
I've never seen you walk out on a musical before.
That musical isn't opening tonight.
No?
Darling, you've got to learn the rules. For the musical, there are always 3 changes of title and 4 postponements. They liked it in New Haven, but it needs a lot of work.
I was hoping it was a musical.
You have such a light mind.
Not a bit. Musicals seem to have a humanizing effect on you. After a serious play, we join the proletariat in the subway, and I get to listen to a lecture on the drama. After a musical, you bring me home in a taxi, and you make a few passes.
Now that's a seriously inaccurate piece of reporting, darling.
Oh, I will admit that after the Berman production, you told me I had authentic beauty. And that's a heck of a thing to say to a girl. It wasn't until after our first musical that you told me I have nice legs. And I have, too.
You know, for a minister's daughter, you sure do know a lot about life. Where'd you learn it?
Choir loft.
You mean you learn about both religion and life in the choir loft?
Oh, no. Religion never gets as high as the choir loft. Oh, which reminds me, I'd better go say goodnight to Father.
I've never been able to rationalize it.
What?
My falling in love with a girl who lives in Brooklyn.
Falling in love? You are not stooping to the articulate, are you?
The only way I can regain my self-respect is by keeping you in New York.
Did you say keep?
Oh, no. I've decided you're only holding out for the legalities.
I can afford to be a good girl for quite a few years yet.
And I can't wait that long. Where could we be married in a hurry? Say tonight.
Oh, well, I'm afraid Father would insist on officiating.
Oh, gosh. I bet that man could even make a marriage service sound pedestrian.
Do you happen to be writing a review of it?
Forgive me, darling. It's an occupational disease. You know, I may give that play tonight a good notice.
Don't pretend you love me that much.
Be sure to tell your father not to wait up tonight.
I think I'd better tell him to wait up tonight.
I'll telephone Winchell to publish the banns.
Nevertheless.
All right. Everything formal and legal, but not later than next month.
Oh, darling, I'll talk to Father and set the date.
No, we'll have to see what's in rehearsal. There'll be a lot of other first nights in October.
Hello, Mortimer.
How are you, Mr. President?
Bully, just bully. What have you to report?
Just this. The country is squarely behind you.
Yes, isn't it wonderful? Well, goodbye. Goodbye.
Where are you off to, Teddy?
Panama.
Panama.
Panama's the cellar. It's where he digs locks for the canal.
You're so sweet with him, and he's very fond of you.
Well, Teddy has always been my favorite brother.
Favorite? Were there more of you?
There's another brother, Jonathan.
I've never heard of him. Your aunts never mention him.
We don't really like to talk about Jonathan. He left Brooklyn very early, by request. Jonathan was the kind of boy that liked to cut worms in two, with his teeth.
Ooh. Well, what became of him?
We don't really know. He wanted to become a surgeon like grandfather, but he wouldn't go to medical school first, and his practice got him into a lot of trouble.
Oh, aren't you two going to be late for the theater?
We're skipping dinner. We won't have to start for half an hour.
Oh, well then I'll just leave you two alone together.
Oh, don't
again.
bother, darling. I'm going to go speak to Father now. Before I go out with you, he likes to pray over me a little. I'll be right back. I'll cut through the cemetery.
If the prayer isn't too long, I'll have time to lead you beside distilled waters.
Oh.
Oh, Mortimer, that's the first time I've ever heard you quote the Bible. We knew Elaine would be a good influence for you.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to marry her.
Oh, Mortimer! Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, Martha, come in here right now. I have the most wonderful news for you. Come in here, dear. Martha! Oh, Mortimer and Elaine, are going to be married.
Mortimer! Oh, Mortimer!
We hoped it would happen just like this.
Oh, I bet Elaine is the happiest girl in the world.
Happy? Just look at her leaping over those gravestones. Say, what's that?
What's what, dear?
That statue. That's a Harundanita Karnina.
No, dear, that's Emma B. Stout ascending to heaven.
Not that. I'm a Stout's left ear. That bird. That's a red-crested swallow. I've only seen one of those before in my life.
Mortimer, what on earth are you talking about a bird for at a time like this? What with Elaine and the engagement and all?
It's a vanishing species. Thoreau was very fond of them. Oh, speaking of Thoreau, I left a large envelope around here last week. It was one of my chapters on Thoreau. Have you seen it anywhere?
Well, if you left it here, it should be around here somewhere.
But Mortimer, what are your plans? When are you going to be married? Oh, well, there must be something more you can tell us about Elaine.
Elaine?
Yes.
Oh, yes, Elaine thought it was brilliant.
What was?
My chapter on Thoreau.
Oh, well, I think when Elaine comes back, we should have a celebration. We should drink to their happiness. Martha, is there any more of that Lady Baltimore cake left? Oh, good. And I'll open a bottle of wine.
Oh, and to think it happened in this room.
No.
Now, where could I have put that?
Oh, dear. I should think with your fiancé sitting next to you today at the theater, well, I would hope that it's something that you could enjoy for once. Maybe it'll be something romantic. What's it called?
Murder Will Out.
Oh.
When the curtain opens, the first thing you'll see will be a dead body. And Tabby, you made plans for Teddy to go to that sanitarium. Happydale?
Yes, it's all been arranged. Dr. Harper was here this afternoon, and well, he brought the papers for Teddy to sign. Oh, they're right here. See?
Teddy has to sign these right away.
Well, that's what Dr. Harper thinks. That way, there won't be any legal difficulties if we pass on.
Teddy has to sign them now. He's down in the cellar. Get him up here right away.
Oh, there'll be no hurry as that.
No. When Teddy's working on the canal, you can't get his mind on anything else.
Teddy has to go to Happydale now. Tonight.
Mortimer, how can you say that? As long as we're alive, we will never be separated from Teddy.
Right away, I tell you, right away.
Well, Mortimer.
How come you turned on your brother?
Yes, your own brother.
Listen, darlings, I've got some shocking news for you. Now, we've all got to keep our heads. You know, we sort of humored Teddy because we thought he was harmless.
He is harmless.
Was harmless. That's why he has to go to Happydale. Why he has to be confined.
Mortimer, how could you possibly talk like that about your own brother?
You've got to know about it the sometime, and may as well be now. Teddy's killed a man. There's a body in the window seat.
Yes, dear, we know.
You know?
Well, yes. But it has nothing to do with Teddy. No, now, you just forget you ever saw the gentleman, Mortimer.
Forget?
Well, that's what we did with the others.
Others?
Yes.
Well,
The other gentleman.
Now, when you say others, do you mean others? More than one others?
well, yes, this makes 11, isn't it, Abby?
Oh, no, dear. No, this makes 12.
No, you're wrong. Well, this is 11.
No, because I remember when Mr. Hoskins came in to see the room, and I gave him the wine. Well, it occurred to me that this was an even dozen.
Oh, but are you counting the first one?
Oh, yes, I'm counting the first one.
Oh, I don't think we should
And
count
that
the
makes
first one.
12.
Hello? Oh, hello, Al. My, it's good to hear your voice.
Anyway, they're all down in the cellar.
Oh, no, Al, I'm sober as a lark. I just called you because I was feeling a little pirandello. You wouldn't know, Al. Look, I'm glad you called. Get hold of George right away. He's got to review the play tonight. I can't make it. That's all there is to it. I can't. Well, George has to cover the play tonight. This is my department and I'm running it. You get a hold of George. Now, let's see. Where were we? 12?
Well, yes. It's 12 if we count the first one. Abby thinks we should count the first one.
All right. Now, who was the first one?
Oh, Mr. Midgley. He was a Baptist.
Oh, well, it was right after you moved to New York.
Yes, and, well, he came here looking for a room, and it just didn't seem right to let that lovely room go to waste when there were so many people who needed it.
And he was such a lonely man.
Yes, all of his kith and kin were dead, and, well, it left him so lonely and sad.
Oh, we felt sorry for him.
And then when his heart attack came and he sat dead in that chair, well, looking so peaceful. Remember, Martha? We made up our minds then and there that if we could do anything to help other gentlemen to that same peace, we would.
That man died right in this chair. How awful for you.
Oh, no, dear. As a matter of fact, your grandfather used to have a cadaver or two around the house. Yes. And you see, Teddy had been digging down in Panama, and he thought Mr. Midgley was a yellow fever victim.
Yes, but that meant he had to be buried immediately.
So we all took him down to Panama, and we put him in the lock. And so, you see, there's nothing to worry about. We know exactly what needs to be done.
Yes.
And that's how all this started. That man walking in here and dropping dead.
Yes. But, of course, we knew that we couldn't depend on that happening again, so, well...
Well, you know all those poisons up in Grandfather's laboratory for all those years?
Well, you know your Aunt Martha's knack for mixing things.
You've had enough of my piccalilli.
Yes.
Well, for every gallon of elderberry wine, we take a full teaspoon of arsenic, half a teaspoon of strychnine, and just a pinch of cyanide.
Should have quite a kick.
Oh, yes. Yes, one of our gentlemen even had time to say, "How delicious."
Well, I better get started in the kitchen.
Well, I'll be along to help you in a moment, dear.
Oh, yes.
Go along, dear.
I'm trying out a new recipe.
Oh, good. Well, I wish you could stay to dinner, dear.
I couldn't eat a thing.
Oh, well, I feel so much better. Well, you have to wait for Elaine, don't you? Oh, you must be so happy. Well, dear, I'll leave you alone with your thoughts.
Oh, it's you.
Don't be cross, darling. Father could see that I was excited, so I told him about us, and it made it hard for me to get away. But listen, he's not going to wait up for me tonight.
Look, Elaine, something's come up. I need you to go home, and I'll call you up tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
You know I always call you up every day or two.
But we're going to the theater tonight.
No? No, we're not.
Well, why not? What, darling? Oh, Mortimer, you've lost your job?
No, I haven't lost my job. I'm just not covering that play tonight. Now, run along home, Elaine. I've got to do something.
But I've got to know. Certainly you can tell me.
No? No, I can't.
But if we're going to be married...
Married?
Have you forgotten that not 15 minutes ago you proposed to me?
I did? Oh, yes, well, as far as I know, that's still on. Now, run along home, Elaine, please.
Wait! You can't just propose to me 1 minute and then throw me out of the house the next.
I'm not throwing you out of the house, darling. Now, will you get out of here?
No, I will not get out of here. Not until I've had some sort of explanation.
Elaine!
What is going on?
I can't tell you, Elaine. Something is going on, and I'll tell you about it when I can.
Mortimer, you've got to be frank with me.
Elaine. Hello? Hello? Hello, Al. Hey. Look, I've got to tell you something, all right? But it can wait a minute, can't it? Hold on. Oh. Look, Elaine, you're a sweet girl, and I love you very much. But I need you to go home and wait until you're called.
Don't try to be masterful.
When we're married and I have problems of my own to face, I hope I find you less tedious and uninspired.
And when we're married, if we're married, I hope to find you adequate.
Elaine! Elaine! Aunt Abby and Martha, come in here.
We'll be in a minute, dear.
Come in here now. Oh, right. Hello? Hello? Hello?
It's the doorbell, dear. Not the telephone. Oh, hello. How do you do? Won't you come in?
I understand you have a room for rent?
Yes, we do. Won't you step in?
Are you the lady of the house?
Yes, I am. I'm Miss Brewster. Oh, and this is my sister, another Miss Brewster.
My name is Gibbs.
Oh, well, won't you sit down? I'm sorry, just setting the table for dinner.
Hello! Al! City desk! What? Oh, I'm sorry, wrong number.
May I see the room?
Oh, well, why don't you sit down and let's get acquainted?
Yes.
That won't matter much if I don't like the room.
Is Brooklyn your home?
Haven't got a home. I live in a hotel, and I don't like it.
Hello, city desk.
Well, are your family Brooklyn people?
I haven't got a family.
Oh, all alone in the world?
Yep.
Well, Martha. Well, do sit down. You've come to just the right house.
Hey, Al, it's Mort. We got cut off. Look, Al, I can't cover the plate tonight. That's all there is to it. I can't.
So, what church do you go to? There's an Episcopal church practically next door.
I'm Presbyterian, or I used to be.
What's George doing in Bermuda? Certainly I told him he could go to Bermuda. It's my department, isn't it? Well, certainly there's somebody around the place. You look around the office.
Is it always this noisy here?
Oh, he doesn't live with us.
No.
Well, there must be some printers around. Look, Al, how about the fellow who sets my coffee? You know, his name is Joe. He's the third machine for the left. But Al, he might turn out to be another Burns mantle.
I'd really like to see the room.
Well, it's just upstairs. Won't you try a glass of our wine?
Never touch the stuff.
We make it ourselves. It's elderberry wine.
Elderberry wine? Huh. I haven't had elderberry wine since I was a boy. Thank you.
Well, how about the young office boy? You know, the bright one, the one that we don't like? Well, certainly there's someone. You look around. I'll hold on.
Do you grow your own elderberry bushes?
Oh, no.
No, but there's plenty of in the cemetery.
No, I'm not drinking, but I'm going to start now.
Can you serve meals?
Well, we might. But why don't you see if you like our wine first?
No.
Now, Mortimer, not that.
No.
Do you want to be murdered? Do you want to be killed? Do you want to be poisoned? Get out of here!
Well, you've just spoiled everything.
I don't know how to explain this to you, but not only is it against the law, it's wrong.
Abby, we shouldn't have told Mortimer.
What I mean is, well, this has developed into a very bad habit.
Mortimer, we don't try to stop you from doing the things that you like to do. I don't know why you have to interfere with us.
Hello, Al? Hello? Okay, look. All right, I'll see the first act and I'll pan the heck out of it, but Al, I need you to do something for me, all right? Get hold of our lawyer, O'Brien, the head of our legal department. Have him meet me at the theater. I'm dependent on you, okay? I'm starting now. Listen, darlings, I've got to go to the theater. There's no getting out of it. But before I go, I need you to promise me something.
Well, we'd have to know what it is first.
You know I love you, and I know you love me, and I would do anything in the whole world for you. I want you to do just this one little thing for me.
Well, what do you want us to do for you?
Don't do anything. I mean, don't do anything. Leave Mr. Hoskins right where he is, and don't let anyone in this house.
Oh, well.
Well, we were going to have services for him.
Services?
Well, yes, he was a Methodist. You don't expect us to bury a Methodist without Methodist services, do you?
Can't that wait until I get back?
Oh, well, then you could join us. Oh, Mortimer, I believe you really like the services, especially the hymns. Oh, Martha, do you remember how beautiful Mortimer's voice was before it changed?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And remember, you're not going to let anyone in this house while I'm gone. It's a promise.
Yes.
Well, Martha, since Mortimer's cooperating with us, all right, Mortimer.
Thank you. Wait, have you got any stationery or anything?
Oh, yes. Oh, here it is. Will this do?
Yes, that'll be fine. I can save time if I write my review on the way to the theater.
Oh.
He just didn't seem like himself, did he?
Well, it's only natural. Well, I think I know why.
Why?
Well, he's engaged to be married.
Oh, yes.
Well, that should make any man nervous.
Well, I don't think he got much rest over the summer. I hope this honeymoon will be the rest that he needs.
Well, at least he didn't go kiting off to Spain or China.
I don't understand why he would want to go to those places anyways.
Well, I think for Mortimer, the theater has always been pretty small potatoes. You know, he needs something bigger to criticize. Something like the human race.
Yes. Well. Oh, by the way, when Mortimer comes down, I'll have to make sure I have an extra hymnal for him. I do believe I have an extra one in our room.
Well, dear, you know this is my turn to read the services. But well, since you weren't here when Mr. Hoskins came, I want you to do it.
Really, Abby? Are you
Yes.
sure?
It's only fair.
Oh, I wear Mother's black bombazines and my own brooch.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Who do you suppose that is?
I don't know.
Oh,
Let
well.
me put this.
Oh,
Let me check.
let me see what it is. Well, we're not supposed to let anyone in. Mortimer, we promised Mortimer.
Well,
I'll look.
Yes. Who is it?
It's two gentlemen. I don't recognize them.
Are you sure?
Yes, there's a car at the curb.
Let me.
They must have come in that.
They're total strangers to me.
Let's hide. We can't be here.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Come in, Doctor. This is the home of my youth. As a boy, I couldn't wait to escape from this place. But now, I'm glad to escape back into it.
Yeah, it's a fine hideout, Johnny.
The family must still live here. There's something so unmistakably Brewster about the Brewsters. I hope there's a fatted calf awaiting the return of the prodigal.
Yeah, me too. I'm hungry. Oh, look, Johnny, drinks.
As though we were expected. A good omen.
Who are you? What are you doing?
Why, Aunt Abby, Aunt Martha. It's Jonathan.
are not Jonathan. Who are you?
I'm Jonathan, your nephew, Jonathan.
You're not Jonathan. You're nothing like Jonathan. Now you just get out of here.
But I am Jonathan, and this is Dr. Einstein.
And he's not Dr. Einstein either.
Not Dr. Albert Einstein, Dr. Herman Einstein.
Who are you? You need to go.
I see you're still wearing the lovely garnet ring that Grandma Brewster brought in England. And you, Aunt Martha, still the high collar to hide the scar where Grandfather's acid burned you.
His voice is like Jonathan's.
Have you been in an accident?
My face. No, Dr. Einstein is responsible for that. He's a plastic surgeon. He changes people's faces.
Well,
Do you remember those movies that the Schultz boy likes to take me to, Junior?
yes.
Oh, well. Remember how I was scared at all those pictures?
Yes.
It was that face.
Oh, dear.
Easy, Johnny, easy. Ladies, the last 5 years I give Johnny 3 faces. I give him a new one right away.
You see, Doctor, you see what you've done to me? Even my own family doesn't recognize me.
Johnny, you're home in this lovely house. Ladies, how often Johnny tells me about Brooklyn, about this house, about the aunts he loves so much. They know you, Johnny, they know you. You know it's Jonathan. You know it is. Speak to him. Tell him so.
Well, Jonathan, it's been a long time. What have you been doing all these years?
Where have you been?
Oh, England, South Africa, Australia. The last 5 years, Chicago. Dr. Einstein and I were in business together.
Oh, we were in Chicago for the World's Fair.
Yes, but we found it awfully warm.
Yes.
Yeah, it got hot for us too.
Well, it's wonderful to be in Brooklyn again. And you, Abby, Martha, you don't look a day older, just as I remembered you. Sweet, charming, and hospitable. And dear Teddy, did he get into politics? My little brother, Doctor, was determined to become president.
Ted is fine, just fine. And Mortimer's well, too.
I know about Mortimer. I've seen his picture at the head of his column. He's evidently fulfilled all the promise of his early nasty nature.
Oh, we are very fond of Mortimer.
Well, it's very nice to see you again, Jonathan.
Oh, well, bless you, Aunt Martha. It's good to be home again.
Well, Martha, I believe we better check to see if anything is boiling over on the stove.
Well, Johnny, where do we go from here? The police have got pictures of that face. We've got to operate on you right away. We've got to find a place for that. And we've got to find a place for Mr. Spinalzo, too.
Don't waste any worry on that rat.
But, Johnny, we got a hot stiff on our hands.
Forget Mr. Spinalzo.
Johnny, we can't leave a dead body in the rumble seat. He was a nice fellow, too. He gives us a lift, and what happens?
Well, he said I look like Boris Karloff. That's your work, Doctor. You did that to me.
Now, Johnny, we find a place somewhere. I fix you up quick.
Yes, tonight.
Yeah, Johnny, I got to eat first. I'm hungry. I'm weak.
Jonathan, we're very glad that you came to say hello and that you stopped by to see us, but, well, you were never happy in this house, and, well, we were never happy with you in it, so we've come to say goodbye.
Aunt Tabby, I can't say that your feeling towards me comes as a surprise. But I've spent a great many hours regretting the many heartaches I must have given you as a boy.
You were quite a trial to us, Jonathan.
But my great disappointment is for Dr. Einstein. You see, I promised him that no matter how rushed we were in passing through Brooklyn, I'd take the time to bring him here for one of Aunt Martha's home-cooked dinners.
Well, I'm afraid there wouldn't be enough.
It's a good-sized pot roast.
Pot roast?
Well,
I'm sure it's the least we can do.
Well, thank you, Aunt Martha. We'll stay to dinner.
well then, I'll help Martha hurry it along, since we're all in such a hurry. If you'd care to wash up, Jonathan, you can use the washroom in Grandfather's old laboratory.
Is that still there?
Yes, just as it was. Well, I know you'll want to be hurrying it along, so...
Grandfather's
Well?
laboratory. Go ahead, Doctor.
Well, at least we get a meal.
Oh, yes. Grandfather's laboratory, and just as it was, Doctor. A perfect operating room.
Too bad we can't use it.
Oh, after you finish with me, Doctor, why, we could make a fortune here. The laboratory, that large ward in the attic, 10 beds. Doctor, and Brooklyn is crying for your talents.
Why work yourself up, Johnny? Anyway, I think for Brooklyn, we're about a year too late.
Oh, you don't know this town, Doctor. Practically everybody needs a new face.
Yeah, but so many of the old faces are already locked up.
A very small percentage, Doctor. And the boys in Brooklyn, they're famous for paying generously to stay out of jail.
Oh, that would be beautiful. This nice house. Those aunts of yours, such lovely ladies. I feel like I love them already. Hey, I get our bags, yeah?
Doctor, we must wait until we're invited.
But you just said.
Oh, we'll be invited.
And if we're not?
We're here for dinner, aren't we?
Yeah, but after dinner?
Leave it to me, Doctor. I'll handle it. Why, this house will be our headquarters for years.
That's a beautiful dream. Only I hope you're not dreaming. It's so peaceful here.
That's what makes this house so perfect for us, Doctor. It's so peaceful.